Oh, I'm gonna start my video anyway. Hello, people of the internet. Welcome back to the Snowy's Gaming channel. Today we are very welcome. That was silly, but you know, we have today with us the developers of a game called Biome. Please introduce yourselves. I don't mind who goes first.
Go on, John. You go first.
Is John there?
I'm John, and I do sound. Yeah, I am absolutely. I do sound and music, and help out generally with Biome.
Yeah, and I'm Tom, and I do the other half of things, which is programming and design as well. Yeah, we kind of share the design and then do our things as well.
Cool. So, try and explain a Biome to the people, because I've tried and it doesn't work.
All right, John, you can take this one.
Well, I think it's probably a good sign that it's still really hard to explain what it is, because I feel like a lot of games, if you can sum it up, like it's great to be able to sum it up in a sentence, and I'd love to be able to sum Biome up in a sentence, believe me, it would make my life so much easier, but it's probably a good sign that we can't. Like, if we were able to say, oh, it's like Team Fortress 2,
It's
then
exactly like this game.
I probably wouldn't be excited about it. But the fact that we've written like paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs about how to sum it up in a sentence, it's probably a bad thing and a good thing. But yeah, I guess it's...
I think most of the games I love, I can't sum up in a sentence. I can only say, oh, it's kind of unique. Like, you know, if I tried explaining Katamari, it's like impossible to do. Or like, even like Proteus. It's like, you know, people have said, oh, it's a walking simulator, but it's not. That doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, it's hard to explain Proteus. It's definitely hard to explain the best games.
I have to ask Ed about that, how he did it.
Yeah, so this was one of the games that caught my eye at Res. It was probably nearly #1 as well. It was.
You did spend more time talking to us than you did doing anything else, that's for sure.
I did seem to spend most of my time talking to you guys.
And then bringing new people as well.
Yeah, I did bring new people. What basically happens in this game, I don't really want to say basic. You can change the landscape to by dragging this kind of square around. They can't see what I'm doing at the moment. I'm probably breaking their game, but... You can,
are you playing it?
Yeah, I'm playing it. You can move. You move the square. What is the square? I don't know.
The square is a temporary thing because we didn't have any particle effects on the morning of Res, so I threw the square in.
Okay, the square is thrown.
that's the short answer.
So you move the square about, and it changes the landscape accordingly. So if you click on like land, you're more likely to get land. And see, I've just got lava now, and lava's breaking everything. And,
did you play Conker's Bad Fur Day?
I haven't. No. What is it?
There's a really good bit right at the very start where this drunk scarecrow is talking about how to play the game, and he explains the notion of context-sensitive input. It's very funny. And that is basically how I'm describing it to people. Like, it's context sensitive. Everything that happens is dependent on context.
Okay.
But it sounds better from a drunk scarecrow.
Everything's better from a drunk scarecrow. No fact of life. Yeah. So, what were your kind of main things? What are they called? You know, the things with that inspire you to make the game. I'm really doing well today.
I had like 3 inspirations when I first made the tech demo, like a year ago or something, long before I even knew John. And one of them was Dunatel has this song called Paper Landscape, and I really liked it. And I thought, oh, I should make a paper landscape to this. It just seemed to make sense.
Yeah.
So that's what made me think, oh, I should do something with low poly and like pretty low art style and, you know, that kind of feel. But a very, very long time ago, I used to really like this series of books called Mortal Engines. Read them, they're really cool, even if they are like teen books, I guess. Oh, it's not crazy. Yeah, there was this really cool bit right at the very end where this robot is shutting down, and it's like 2 pages of description.
Are you
like,
spoiling the
last-
books?
Maybe a little. No, it's fine.
Just
No
a little
spoilers.
bit.
No spoilers. promise.
You're just like, read these books, they're great. I'm gonna spoil them on the cast right now.
Here's how it ends. No, so what happens is this robot is like shutting himself down. He's turning off all his processes, but he's still kind of semi-conscious, and explains how he starts seeing the world move in fast motion. So like at first he kind of just sees, birds fly over to him, and then he sees the grass grow, and then the trees sprout, and then like the entire world just shifts and like evolves around him over like millions of years, and he's just watching all of this happen. And then he wakes himself up, and it's like a stupid amount of time later, and he finds himself in this little village of this, civilization that's totally abstract, totally new to him. And it's just really well described, and I love the idea of time passing really quickly and everything changing. Yeah, it's really it's kind of poetic. I really liked it, and Proteus do it quite well as well.
What are those
like
books
when you
called?
get near the circle.
Yeah, what are the books called?
Mortal Engines.
Sounds really
I
cool.
think it is, honestly, they're so cool. It's like post-apocalyptic steampunk adventure. It doesn't do it justice. They're really good. I think Peter Jackson was going to do a film about them at one point, but I don't know what happened to that.
Oh, robots. Robots make the best movies.
Robots do make the best movies. It's not entirely about robots. There just happens to be a robot in it.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. Let's see if the film's still going. Mortal Engines film. Go on internet.
Oh, we want an answer. We want it to be yes.
It might be in a minute I'll give you this answer. But I've not heard about it in a long time, so it's probably going to be no.
Damn it. John, what was your kind of inspiration behind the lovely music that I'm listening to right now?
I think really early on, it was watching and mucking about with Tom's little demo that he made. And then I was looking at it, and I was on Skype with Tom, and I said, you know what I really want to see this thing turned into? I want to be able to zoom in, and I want to see things sort of moving around the landscape and living there and inhabiting it and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I want it to be like, it's a computer simulation of life, sort of. But it's a super, I want it to, I imagined it as a super obvious computer simulation, like a tiny little computer in space trying to simulate a cube slice of life and Earth, and doing a really rubbish job at it. So I imagined like this crazy little tiny cute space computer trying to produce sounds based on what the world was, and trying to make animal noises based on what it thought the animals might sound like.
Okay. That sounds
And
really
I'm still
good.
kind of going along that path. Yeah, it's pretty tough. So I've been looking at all sorts of weird things, like trying to make I think a lot of the pieces of music that you hear in the piece that we showed at Res was most of the music is made out of recordings of nature that I've stretched and mangled and laid underneath all these other weird, strange instruments. And some of them are like predominantly digital, made to sound analog, and yeah, I think the last one I uploaded was water pouring out of a tap, just me filling up a glass of water, and I stretched it out for 5 minutes, and then that's the basis of one of the tracks.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So we talked a lot at Res of what were the plans for this, because at the moment it's a very cool little kind of. It's a trial version. It's in alpha at the moment. So, what were your plans for the future? I remember you telling me, has there been anything updated, or I remember you saying something about animals and trees and stuff.
Yeah, so I'll fill everyone on like the actual plans first, and then I'll
Yes.
talk about the very future plans that we've not told anyone.
That makes sense.
So the basic things is to get this context-sensitive interaction working. So like if you start touching sand, we want it to become more desert-like, more like a beach, regardless of where you were at the time. So just like things reinforce themselves. And after that, we want to try and get entities into the game, things like trees, animals, any sort of life form at all, and have them so they will grow and adapt to their environment if it changes. Which sounds complicated, but it's actually not. Hopefully, going to be that bad because it's just going to be switching a few textures, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But then after that, we want to start having a look into the mystical side of the world, the sort of the kind of the lore of the world almost. We want it to have this sort of timeless feel, like the world has always existed and always will, and here are some things left by the essence of the world. So everything's going to have a quite kind of a magical feel to everything.
I remember you saying that. I remember saying it, Rez, that it feels like a universe that you know, but not well enough. It's like a planet that you visited. Say if you visited like a different planet that looked pretty much the same as Earth, but slightly different every place you went
things
to.
Be familiar, I think, to some respects. Like the animals aren't going to be totally new things you've never seen before. They're all going to be grounded in reality.
Yeah.
But we'll probably mess around with them a little bit too. So you might have a bear that exists in hell, and it's got glowing red eyes or something. So a little bit adventure timey maybe, in the way that they've kind of got these different environments and different animals in each one.
Yeah, I do love how as you're playing it, the time seems to carry on as you if you just leave it, time carries on. So at the moment on my screen we're in daytime and we've just gone into nighttime, and the stars seem almost cube-like as well, like they're distant planets.
Yeah. John, do you want to talk about this? Because we've talked about this sort of thing before, I think.
About the stars specifically?
More about like the persistence of the world, I guess.
Yeah, the persistence of the world.
So we've kind of talked about how
Right.
yeah, we wanted the world never to stop moving. We deliberately took away any like notion of being able to save and load your world at all. We kind of want it so if you leave it for a bit, it will change, and there's nothing you can do about that. At the moment, it's actually really sped up. Like if you leave it for just a few minutes, it'll totally change. And we want it so it's a bit more, a bit less radical than that. So maybe you start playing it at work on your lunch break, and you come back to it the next day. And if you had a forest, maybe, I don't know, you might have had a couple of trees and now they're a forest. Or maybe you had this forest and maybe they've shrunk because the animals have died, or maybe the world's a little bit more flooded now.
Yeah. So it's always
We don't
changing.
want that to be a bad thing.
You want it to
We
be
want change to be change. Like it's not good, it's not bad. Like it's just change. It's just different. And seeing something different, seeing something new should be a good thing in the end. Like you can always come back to, you might find your way back to that sort of place, that similar place further down the line. You might not, you might find somewhere better. But yeah, hopefully that pays off. Like I don't think that the idea, we're making a whole lot of assumptions with this game.
I think it's going to annoy people a little bit. Like some people are going to be like, oh, well, I spent ages making this perfect world and then it changed, or I accidentally tapped and it got ruined. But that, like John says, like that's good. I mean, like that is change. It happens and you can't do anything about it. And that's what mistakes are. Like you can't have any repercussions in games if you can just undo them straight away. So that's something we actually really like about it. And we wouldn't change that even if people say, this is, horrible because I spent an hour making this and it's gone. Because that's, we like that about the game.
You definitely feel if you left it,
you don't have to start again with this. You don't have to start again. You don't have to level up from level 1. You don't have to do any of that. Like any one point in the world is basically fundamentally exactly the same as another one. Like there's no stats for the world. There's nothing like that. Like
there's no like judgment on it. So it's not like, oh, you've killed a whole bunch of deer, therefore you're a bad person and we're not going to let you have this. But if you kill the deer, it might change the world in a particular way. So it's not that we want to make you feel bad for it. You feel bad for something yourself. Like, we don't ever want to sort of force people's hand in any kind of way. We just want to let stuff happen.
Yeah, you just, yeah, I felt almost powerful while playing it. You do feel like you are kind of powerful, but not in a bad way. You don't really you just like changing things. It's more of a, oh, let's see what we can do now, rather than, oh, let's kill those people, almost, which is a very nice kind of change.
I think almost any game is about some sort of power, even if it's something really abstract and like something that you wouldn't normally consider to be power. It is normally about power in some way. Like, I mean, even in Proteus, you could say your power is to hear all these great things. Like, you're given the power to interpret the world in this cool way.
That's a very interesting way to look at it. I just looked at it as, I'm going to explore now, and really loved the game.
Yeah, I guess it's the way it lets you explore that matters.
Yeah, definitely.
And in that universe, you're the only one in that pocket that does it. You're the only one sort of moving around that island. You're the only one taking it in that particular way. Like, I think Tom's right. All games are about power, but it's just to what degree.
Yes. So you were talking about, this is way in the future, guys. We're talking like maybe some of this might not actually happen, but you were talking about that maybe some cubes, if you wanted to, could overlap with your friends' cubes and they could interlap.
Well, I mean, it's not something we'd actually discussed very much, but a lot of people mentioned it at Res. I'm not even sure I told you, John. I might have done, but a lot of people were just kind of saying, you know, I've made this world and I really want to see if I can just stitch them together, or take somebody else's world and put it next to mine, and maybe even have it so, you know, they will literally overlap, like animals will roam from one to the other. And it definitely wasn't what we had in mind. At least we did, I think at the very start we considered doing that kind of thing, but we kind of stripped it all back. It's an interesting one. I guess we don't really have an answer for you there.
You think it would be a cool idea. I want to hear John's perspective, because he's probably just heard this now.
That's the thing. Yeah, immediately after Res, I had a chat with Tom. He said, yeah, man, like, people had all sorts of weird and crazy and wonderful ideas that we'd never thought of, like all sorts of things, like just completely, totally left field, crazy things. Left field for the Left Field collection, of course, but I know he said, a couple of people came up and said, hey, so when's it going to be on Greenlight? As if it was like an inevitability. Like, we'd never even thought about it. Like, we perhaps even thought about avoiding Steam for like reasons that we've seen in the past, like the whole not a game thing. But people were like adamant about it, which was just mind-blowing. Like, but yeah, dude, sharing worlds with friends and showing, like, that's sharing is a really, really super important part about Discovery. So, and Discovery is a massive part of Biome, like finding all these crazy and weird happenstances and circumstances and all sorts of crazy stuff, like a deer taking a drink at a lake and then it turns and looks up at something else, and you want to show that to your partner or show it to your friends or whatever. Like, that's super cool, and we definitely want to facilitate that. And if people want to share entire worlds and say, hey, let's merge our worlds together, like some sort of, I don't know, could you do that with Digimon? I don't know, with the Digimon toys, could you merge Digimon like that? I don't know.
I have no idea.
That was awesome. Like, back in the playground when you did like the Digimon battles, there was that physical connection and you had that sort of thing. Oh my god, it's awesome. People have great ideas, like sharing.
Why don't they do that? If they didn't do that with Digimon, they definitely should have done it.
That'd be so hard to do.
Was it Digimorphing, Digiblending? I don't know. Maybe I'm way off the mark. Maybe I'm thinking about something else. I don't know. I never played with them, but I heard about them. Oh yeah, I suppose, yeah. I distinctly remember them morphing.
Well, at the moment,
Maybe I'm wrong.
at the moment there's the share, the take the photo and share. I haven't seen if it works yet, but I will definitely check that out in a bit.
Email one does, Twitter doesn't. For reasons unknown, I've still not been able to get to the bottom of that one. I need to spend a bit of time with it. Otherwise, I have to buy a plugin or something because I'm sick of fucking about with that one.
Yeah, so there was also an idea of something about the stars, and if you zoomed out far enough, you'd be able to see other people's worlds and stuff. That was pretty cool. But at the moment, if we want to sidetrack, you two are both working on a different game at the moment, aren't you? Would you like to explain that game?
Yeah.
May as well bring it up.
So we kind of... Yeah, so it's a game called XYZ, and it's something that I made for Ludum Dare this time last year. It's a game about interpreting 3D shapes as 2D shapes and vice versa. So it's a little bit Bears, a little bit Escher, but also a little bit like minimalist puzzle kind of. Yeah, there's a lot of games like that now, like Puzzle Juice or whatever. Yeah, and it's something we're trying to do in a month, so we can kind of test the waters a little bit. Because obviously we want to release Biome on iOS, and we've never released something on iOS before, which is probably not a good idea to do, to sort of jump in. So we thought we'd make this first, we'll release it everywhere we can, and we'll just see, how people respond, and that'll hopefully get our name out a little bit too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cross-promotion thing in a way, but I've been meaning to actually work on it forever. And we're testing some new software with it as well.
Oh, cool. So I played it just before we came on. It's a really good game. I remember playing it when it was actually on the Ludum Dare at the time, and thought it was really cool then. I didn't know you were planning on releasing Biome on an iOS. Is it just going to go on iOS, or is it going on...
So yeah, at first it's going to be an iOS game. I must have mentioned that. Must have.
You didn't mention it.
Damn it. That should have been the thing I led for. I guess because we couldn't get it on iOS at the time, because I don't have a Mac, and Apple are kind of bastards when it comes to that. Oh, wait. No, I shouldn't say that because we want a feature at some point. Apple are great. We really like Apple. And we couldn't get it on an iPad for unknown reasons.
That whole section.
Would you like me to cut that part out for you?
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Pricks.
Alright, now we can do that. Yeah, well, let's cut this out.
Okay, I might leave it in.
Yeah.
Just the... Okay, yes. So apart from apples being pricks...
Yeah, so apart from that, yeah, we've only got it on PC at the moment and Android as well. And we thought, right, it's just easier to show it off on PC. But yeah, the idea is we're going to release it on iPad, and it's going to be one of those premium, well-designed, pretty games for iPad that seem to have a sort of little niche at the moment. Things like Sword and Sorcery or the recent Monument Valley that kind of, they're just built for the iPad. And then they tend to release on PC and Android a few months later. So that's kind of our plan.
You're definitely going to release it on PC though, because I don't have.
That is the plan. I mean, we will have to see how it goes. Like maybe everybody hates an iPad and we just think fuck this. But yeah, we would really like to. And like the fact that people have mentioned Steam means there might be potentially a route that way, especially if Greenlight gets thrown away sometime soon, which might possibly make it easier. I don't know. Maybe harder.
Actually, because we're on that system and you're two devs, what do you think of Greenlight?
I don't really mind. Like, I don't know. It's all right. I've never had a game on it, so I probably can't say too much. But I've seen a lot of devs just say they don't like it because it kind of only promotes the same kind of game, and I don't know. It does a lot of joke games and a lot of serious games that probably don't get taken seriously on it.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it was, who was it? Somebody on Gamer Sutra, some well-known game person. Oh, it was Eric Zimmerman, I think.
Okay.
He was writing about how there isn't really, like, Amazon has this recommendation system where, you buy a book and it's like, okay, you like this kind of book. You like books about, let's say, politics. So we'll recommend you books about politics from now on, or things related to that. And they've got this really clever system where, they figure out things you probably will like. But that doesn't really exist in games. Like, if I go on the App Store and I buy Monument Valley, it's not going to stop recommending me, like, I don't know, Angry Birds. which is cool.
Call of
but-
Duty.
Yeah, like, you know, if I really like Call of Duty, fine, recommend Counter-Strike. But if I'm only playing, like, Tale of Tales games, I probably, well, I'm not say probably, but, you know, I might not be as interested in those sort of games.
Definitely.
That doesn't really exist yet. And he was saying it's, you know, all for business reasons and whatnot. And, you know, down with business. So, I don't know. I'd quite like to see that get sorted out, I guess. It would be
Fair
nice if people recommended things they actually liked.
John, what are your thoughts on it?
I've
John's
seen
dead.
some rubbish games on Greenlight.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
not to sugarcoat it, like, there are some pieces of shit on that platform. Like, really horrible things. And what's astounding is you have to pay $100 to get on there.
Oh God,
I'm pretty sure that's the case, right? It's still the case.
Yeah, it is.
You have to
Yeah.
pay $100 to submit. And there's some really terrible things on there. Like, there's a lot of promise in some of the ideas, and then some of them are like outright clones. Many of them are breaching intellectual property rights and copyright, like ripping assets from other games. And these people paid like $100 US to throw their hat into the ring, and they must realize that, like, there's no way they're getting on Steam. I don't understand it. I don't think I understand it.
Yeah, it just seems
I think there's been some amazing games get on Steam because of Greenlight. And that's awesome. Like, these games wouldn't have gotten onto Steam, or would have had a lot of trouble getting onto Steam, unless they went through a publisher or something like that. But we're getting some really cool publishers, indie publishers cropping up now, so that's solving that problem. But it's almost a little bit too late in terms of Steam. But when Steam shifts to this curated system that they've been talking about, which is that Steam becomes totally open, it becomes a framework for selling content,
yeah.
and then anyone can host their own storefront. Like, I can go to Rami Ismail's storefront and purchase games that he's recommended. Dom2D could curate a list of really, really cool games based on the Game Squares Tumblr, and that would be awesome. There's so many cool people on Twitter who I would love to see their picks of, like, their games that they say, you need to play this because these are amazing. I think that system is vastly better than Greenlight, and I hope that goes ahead. That'd be awesome.
It would be really cool if that happened.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That would be really nice. I think it's a good solution. Well, you know, we'll see. I find anything like this could, like, collapse as soon as it comes out, because
Yeah, it's
don't know.
very temperamental.
it is. Yeah, gamers are quite a hard audience, I think, especially for, well, just generally, just a hard audience.
It's just annoying altogether. So it's been really nice talking to you guys today. We're gonna have to make a game about boxing kangaroos, though. That is a thing. People will not get that, but we talking about this earlier, and apparently there are no boxing kangaroo games.
There's no good ones.
No good ones, anyway. AOL with kids was the only one you could find.
Yeah, we'll find something good.
That sounds like the kind of game that, oh no, I forgot his name. I'm a terrible person. That Bennett Foddy should make.
Oh, I was thinking Blambir. Lots of screen shake, lots of, like, pretty
Really?
pixel art. Yeah.
I
think it has to be ultra blurry.
collaboration between Bennett Foddy and Blambir.
Oh God,
So, like,
crazy.
all the polish and crazy awesomeness of Blambir titles with the crazy input and mechanics of QWOP.
Oh God.
Kangaroo
We need
boxing.
to find somebody that does pixel art really well.
Imagine controlling the whole kangaroo just one limb at a time.
Oh, yes. Oh, that'd be so good. I think we have to make
You have
this
to, like,
now.
kick back onto the tail and then kick with both feet. Yeah, that'd be
Fly at them. Be amazing. So yeah, definitely go and check out where can people find you guys? Firstly, before I end this, where can people find you on the internet?
lowpolyworld.com,
Melpolyworld.com.
twitter.com/lowpolyworld,
Low.polyworld.
lowpolyworld.tumblr.com.
Oh, is it that way around? Oh, yeah.
You've also got Twitter and stuff, and you can go and play the trial version of XYZ now if you want to. I'll put a link in the description. And yeah, so it's been really nice talking to you guys. We were planning on doing this probably monthly and just chilling and having a chat about the game and how it's progressed and stuff. And it'd be really cool just to see how the game progresses and how you're getting along with other games you've got time to make with your busy schedules being at uni, Tom. I can't talk because I'm supposedly at uni now, but you know.
Yeah, I'm meant to be now as well. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll be okay.
We can't do this when we have jobs, though. You can't just not show up because you're doing an interview with a gaming guys.
Yeah, I can. They just won't know. I might be iller than they think I will be.
Well, now they know, don't they? You give them the game up.
Ah, they won't know who I am. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't think you thought this through.
Damn it. Okay, so I've been Snowy. You've been fantastic for watching this, and we will see you next time in the next video that we make. I don't know when it's going to be though. Who knows? We'll probably next month or sometime. Bye bye.